start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday, and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine, it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good evening, this is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. The A83 is blocked at Loughnell Street, Lochgilphead due to roadworks. An accident on the A465 westbound closed one lane between Neath and Landersea. In Nottinghamshire, a crash has shut one northbound lane on the A1 between the A52 and A46. In Norfolk, a collision temporarily closed all lanes on the southbound A11 between the A134 Thetford West and the A1101. And on the trains, major engineering work affects Avanti West Coast between Milton Keynes Central, Northampton and Rugby, while cross-country faces disruption in Cambridge. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hello, good evening, hope you're well, and welcome to Farage with me, Ben Leo, just for tonight. On tonight's show, Downing Street have defended their campaign to release Alaa Abdel Fattah, despite them admitting his tweets calling for the death of white people and Jews were abhorrent. But the big question tonight is, why are some people forgiven for their online behaviour and others sent to prison? Lucy Connolly joins me live in just a tick on the latest on Two-Tier Britain. Elsewhere, shocking new stats show the number of migrants becoming eligible for universal credit payments has doubled in the past couple of years. It means a migrant is eligible for universal credit every 43 seconds in the UK. And with our welfare bill of £10 billion for foreign nationals, Is it time to end the madness of Benefits Britain? Elsewhere, it started with pubs, but now hairdressers have become the latest industry to blanket ban Labour MPs. I'll be joined by a salon owner who'll explain why he's giving this government the snip. And if you needed yet more proof that biological men should stop cheating in women's sports, well, a male tennis player ranked 671st in the world has thrashed the women's world #1. That's despite playing with a host of handicaps. All of that and much more to come, but first, let's get your news headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Ben. Good evening to you. 7:15 here in the GB newsroom. Donald Trump has welcomed Benjamin Netanyahu to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. The Israeli Prime Minister is meeting the US President for the 6th time this year. They're expected to discuss the fragile ceasefire in Gaza and potential plans to move to phase 2 of the US-backed deal. Israel has cited Hamas's failure to release all remaining hostages as a key reason for the agreement not progressing. The body of one deceased captive is unaccounted for. Mr. Trump was asked how quickly phase 2 could be put in place.
As quickly as we can, but there has to be a disarmament, that we have to disarm with Hamas. So one of the things we'll talk about, certainly, but there has to be a disarming of Hamas. But that's why this very great prime minister is here right now. We're talking about Gaza. We're talking about a lot of things. We have about 5 major subjects that we're discussing, and Gaza will be one of those subjects.
Downing Street's defended the entry of a freed British-Egyptian campaigner to the UK. Despite historic social media posts, it's described as abhorrent. Alaa Abdel Fattah, who was released after years of imprisonment in Egypt recently, appeared to call for violence against Zionists and the police. Sir Keir Starmer is under pressure to revoke the activist's citizenship, but the government insists it would welcome the return of any British citizen unfairly detained abroad. Mr Abdel Fattah, a leading voice in Egypt's Arab Spring uprising in 2011, has unequivocally apologised and says his words have been completely twisted. Nigeria's President Tinubu has extended his sympathies to Anthony Joshua following a fatal road accident in which the boxer was injured in the southwest of the country. 2 people travelling with Joshua were killed. Officials believe his vehicle crashed into a stationary lorry while overtaking at speed on a busy highway north of Lagos. The 2-time heavyweight world champion was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Officials have confirmed he is in a stable condition. He has spoken often of his Nigerian heritage. Anthony Joshua, he has family in the state of Ogun. A mother and her 2 children have been killed in a house fire which destroyed their home in Stroud on Boxing Day. Gloucestershire police say a 7-year-old girl, a 4-year-old boy and their mother, aged in their late 30s, were trapped inside the burning property. Police say their father, who's a serving officer with the force, escaped but was unable to save his family. They've described it as a tragic accident. Separately, a child has died and another's been taken to hospital after a house fire in Kent. Emergency services say they were tackling an intense blaze in the village of Ham Street near Ashford. And new NHS waiting figures show the times for a GP appointment have soared under Labour. 7.6 million patients faced a delay of more than 4 weeks across September, October and November. That's up 4.2% on the same months in 2024. The Liberal Democrats who analysed the data say it represents a damning failure by the government to improve access. Those are your headlines. Now it's back to Ben.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for your company tonight. It's me, Ben Leo, in for Nigel Farage this week. Only one story around, isn't there? Sir Keir Starmer under pressure tonight to strip the British citizenship of the anti-white racist Jew hater Alaa Abdel Fattah, the activist he welcomed into Britain at the weekend. In a nod to Lucy Connolly, the mother sentenced to 2.5 years under this government for a hastily written and quickly deleted tweet after the Southport riots, Reform UK's Zia Youssef, I argue, hit the nail on the head today by posting this on X. He said, "In Britain, if you threaten to kill a protected minority, you're jailed. If you threaten to kill white people, British people, Americans, gays and Jews, like El Fattah, you get granted citizenship by the Tories and celebrated by the Labour Prime Minister. Welcome to Britain. It's worth reminding ourselves just why Mr Al-Fattah's return to the UK is so controversial. Here's a selection of his tweets dating back around 10 years. Let's start with this one, shall we? He wrote, "Yes, I consider killing any colonialists and especially Zionists heroic. We need to kill more of them." Another one said, "Random shooting of white males should convince them racism costs lives." Another said, "I rejoice when Zionists are killed." And there are plenty more to go through as well, but to be honest, we could be here for hours. Al-Fattah said sorry for the tweets today with a rather mealy-mouthed apology. However, recent history's demonstrated that an apology hasn't always been enough, especially in the aforementioned case of Lucy Connolly. Let's not forget Keir Starmer's best mate, Lord Hermer, the Attorney-General. Well, he had a chance to intervene in Lucy's case and look at her rather harsh sentence, 2.5 years, remember. But, crucially, he chose not to. Keir Starmer, meanwhile, he celebrates the arrival of a racist Egyptian anti-Semite like a performing seal. Well, Lucy Connolly joins me live down the line now on Farage. Lucy, good evening. Thank you for your company. Apparently, when you fired off your emotional tweet last year after Southport, you should have maybe targeted Jews and white people instead, and you'd probably have got a government-sponsored welcome party for your efforts.
Well, it seems that way, doesn't it? I mean, it's extremely difficult to disagree with that tweet that I've just seen that Zia wrote earlier on. Obviously, what I wrote wasn't okay, but certainly what he's been writing over the past Lord knows how many years isn't okay either. Do I think he should go to prison? No, I don't, because I believe in free speech, and free speech is not free if there are consequences. However, do I think we should revoke his citizenship and send him packing? Absolutely, you know, and he's targeting Jews. I think they've got enough on their plates right now of all the, you know, all the hate marches and everything else that's going on, and all the, you know, what's happened in Australia, recently, and what happens here. I think, you know, unfortunately for the Jews, they're having a really, really hard time at the minute, and we seem, you know, deem it acceptable in this country to ship in another one, and you know, another person to hate on them. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely insane.
Do you think we live in a two-tier society, Lucy? Because that phrase has been banded around for, I don't know, I guess since Labour took power in July last year, some 15, 16 months. Do you think it's two-tier? Do you think contrasting your treatment to this guy's treatment, is that two-tier to you?
100%. How can you possibly say, oh, we can forgive him for what he said, and he's got a long history of tweets against a country that it seems has only ever tried to help him. However, you know, I wrote one tweet in haste, you know, out of anger and upset that I, as you say, quickly deleted and apologised for, and that wasn't enough. So you tell me why it's enough for him to apologise and he can be forgiven and we can move on from that. But even now, you know, having even served my sentence, people come at me daily about, you know, what an awful person I am. And the very same people are then tweeting that, you know, oh, we need to forgive this guy, move on now, you know, because they will not, you know, have anything said about this government and our Prime Minister. Whereas, you know, when the Tories were in power, and quite rightly, as people have said, well, it was the Tories that were involved in this as well. Yes, it was. And this is why the Tories are no longer in power, because the people that used to vote for them got fed up of them not being Tories, and didn't vote for them again. But it just seems that it doesn't matter what Labour do, that their supporters will stand by them, whether it's right or whether it's wrong.
And also, Lucy, I'm sure you've seen, and viewers and listeners back home, the kind of lefty celebrity virtue signalling stars of film and stage with their appeals down the camera saying, we need this guy to come back home. The government, the Tories at the time, should welcome him back with open arms. It seems nobody, Lucy, not the lefty-lovey celebrities, not anybody in the Tory government or anybody in this government knew of this guy's vile, disgusting tweets, racist tweets against white people and Jews and the rest. Nobody knew.
As if. We know that Keir Starmer knew. So, you know, how many days ago was he celebrating?
He denies knowledge of it, Lucy.
But there's video footage of him talking. There is transcripts of, you know, debates held in Parliament and stuff where he quite clearly says he's aware that he is a political prisoner for things he's written online. So how can he now say that he didn't know that what he'd done? We know he knows what he did. He was well aware that he was a political prisoner in Egypt for writing things on social media. And now all of a sudden, he doesn't know.
Yeah, interesting. There were some reports, unconfirmed, that the Egyptian government had come out at some point today and basically accused Keir Starmer of lying, saying, of course he knew. And by the way, just as a separate point, there was this guy was up for some award in 2014, some, I don't know, humanitarian nonsense award, and they axed the award from him. They stopped him receiving it because his old tweets had come to light. So for me, I just think, when you run government, you're running a country with an infinite money cheat. You can print money out of anywhere. You have access to the greatest resources and the minds in the world. You're telling me nobody knew about these tweets?
Well, we know that's not true, though, don't we?
Yeah.
We know that they knew about the tweets. Everybody knew about the tweets. Well, maybe not people like you and I until the last couple of days. Maybe it wasn't brought to our attention until fairly recently. But we have seen evidence come to light in the last couple of days in the form of tweets, in the form of transcripts from meetings, etc., that shows that Keir Starmer and his, peers clearly knew that the reason he was in prison, they called him a political prisoner, was for writing posts online, and that he should be forgiven because he apologised. So that's fine, forgive him, he's apologised. But they didn't forgive me. Peter Lynch isn't alive to tell the tale. They didn't forgive him. They didn't forgive, hundreds of other people that were sent to jail for one online post during a really, emotional time. But because, Labour support him and the left support him, it's OK. It's different rules for him.
Yeah. Lucy, sorry to interrupt. We've got a breaking tweet from our dear leader, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister. He tweeted about 5 minutes ago. He said, as Yvette Cooper set out in her letter, the historic tweets by Alaa, Abdel, Fattah are absolutely abhorrent. With the rise of anti-Semitism and recent horrific attacks, I know this has added to the distress of many in the Jewish community in the UK. We are taking steps to review the information failures in this case. And to me, that line is crucial. We are taking steps to review the information failures in this case. Well, surely that includes you, Prime Minister, no?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, the buck has to stop with somebody, and I would hope that it was him. He's supposed to protect. They need to remember their job as MPs, as a Prime Minister, is to protect the public, is to protect the constituents in the constituency they work in. And it doesn't seem to me that they're doing a very good job here. We hear time and time again people say, well, people are racist. We've got white English people here that, they commit crime too. Yes, they do. So then we don't need to import any more wrong-uns, do we? So the fact of the matter is, he might not, deserve to go to prison because of his tweets and free speech and all of those things, but he doesn't deserve a citizenship in this country. If you did a poll, if you went and got 1,000 people off the street tomorrow, I think you'd be, really hard pushed to find anybody that is happy for him to reside in the UK.
Well, maybe apart from some lefty-lovey celebrities, but there we go, speaks for itself.
They can house him then, can't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the same as people like Zach Polanski. You want to bang on about small boat migrants so much? Put a couple in your house and lead by example. Lucy, thank you very much. Appreciate your company.
Thanks,
Happy New Year to you. Right, gbnews.com/Your Say. Lots of comments coming in on that. I'll get to those very shortly. But in the meantime, my panel are here. GB News senior political commentator Nigel Nelson and the Reform UK County Councillor Jamie Ricciardo. Hello, chaps.
Hello, how are you doing?
Merry Christmas still, or was it too late for that?
No, Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Christian country, we keep talking about
Indeed. Nigel, should this chap have his rather flimsy British citizenship stripped of him and sent packing back to Egypt?
No.
Why not?
Simply because we made him a British citizen. We campaigned to get him out of Egypt. To try and send him back there would be completely ridiculous. We've had successive Prime Ministers, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, and now Keir Starmer, all have been campaigning to get him out of jail.
But none knew about the tweets, though. That's apparently.
Well, hang on.
Well,
this is the bit that I find peculiar. There's an argument that due diligence wasn't carried out. All you had to actually do was not even look at his tweets. You could simply Google his name.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned the Sakharov Prize that he was denied in 2014. That was because of these tweets. All of that was actually reported in international media at the time.
Sure.
So
but the government's argument of blue and red, both governments have said they didn't know about it. So now we know about it. What is the reason for allowing him to stay back? He hates our country, not
yeah,
he hates you as a white people. He hates Jews.
Yeah, OK.
He hates Zionists.
I think you can't go back, having given him citizenship in 2021, you can't suddenly take it away. It probably wouldn't meet the threshold legally anyway to take it away.
Jamie, that's what Emily Thornberry was saying.
I mean, I don't know how you're saying this with a straight face. The man hates this country. He hates people people in this country. He's inciting violence. He's inciting terror. Why would any country want a horrible person like that in their country?
No, he did. We're talking about
someone as messed up as him does not change their views overnight.
You're
I'm sorry.
making a judgment that I'm not sure
I'm making a very informed judgment, and the way this country is at the moment, the sensitivity, we are under such threat. We have a national security emergency. People in this country are fearful. Jewish people are scared to leave their homes, and we have just welcomed with open arms a man that wants to see these people harmed in a most awful manner. And you're suggesting, by the way, he should have, the Home Secretary has the power to resign his citizenship. He should be deported immediately. We don't want scum like that in our country.
But do you not think that the first stage is to find out why Priti Patel, when she was Home Secretary, granted citizenship in the first place?
I'm not going to defend any of these people. They've let the country down enormously. We're dealing with today. This is a today problem, and tomorrow there could be a solution. He needs to go.
Can I ask you, do you agree with the concept of two-tier Britain? Having just heard my conversation with Lucy Connolly, you know her background. She fired off a very emotional tweet after Southport. There was a lot of context and background to it. She was banged up, or at least given a sentence for 2.5 years. This is one of the clearest cases of two-tier Britain.
I think they're different cases, and so I can understand Lucy's annoyance. She's got every reason to be annoyed when she sees something like this happening. But bear in mind what happened to her, that her sentence was exemplary, deliberately so. It was meant to be a deterrent. She published her tweet at a point of really high civil tension that could have turned into serious
We've got that
disorder.
now. How is it any different?
Sorry, what do you mean? How there's any different?
Jewish people are scared to leave their homes.
She published a tweet on the same day as the Southport riots had started. There was a danger that kind of incitement could have led to.
We just had a massacre in Bondi Beach. We had a massacre in our own streets in Manchester. Are you telling me it's not sensitive at the moment?
Well, you can't lay those at the feet of Al Fattah.
Yes, you can. People like him are directly responsible.
People like you're using all these sort of phrases. You're using them in the present tense, which is not fair.
It's
We're
the present
talking
issue.
about tweets from 2010, 2012.
What's wrong with me saying people like him? What's got you back?
Because as far as we know, unless he's sitting here saying the same things, he's not in favour of the massacre at the Bondi Beach, not in favour of attacking synagogues.
But of course he's going to say that now because there's a massive spotlight on his head and there's people calling for his citizenship to be stripped. He's not going to come out and say, well, of course, I agree with everything I said 10 years ago.
No, but you're making an assumption that he does agree with exactly what you say.
I'm going off his tweets. He wrote those tweets, not just one emotional tweet he deleted.
No, I agree with you.
I mean,
the tweets are absolutely abhorrent. I've got there's no question about that.
Whose tweets are worse, Lucy Connolly's or this guy's?
They're different.
Who's worse?
Well, I think they're both bad, but they're different.
Stop giving me a politician's answer.
No, because they're different. They're completely different. She was inciting racial hatred and violence at a time when Britain might have actually gone up in flames. He was doing something from abroad before he was a British citizen, going back to 2010, 2012.
He was also inciting racial hatred.
Yes, he was. I mean, I'm not knocking that, but we are talking about different things at different times. The reason Lucy went to jail for as long as she did is because of the timing.
Well, and I don't know how you can say they're different at all. It's very clear his tweets are far worse, far worse. And also, he never deleted those tweets quickly like Lucy did. People like you are suggesting that he doesn't have those views now.
I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I'm saying that don't assume he does.
What's to say when Lucy was in front of magistrates, she didn't have that view anymore? You don't get forgiveness for changing your mind.
Can I put something to you as well, Nigel? Breaking the last hour or so. This is unconfirmed, so it may just be fake news. I've looked into it. I think it's accurate, but I'm happy to retract it. Somebody's posted a screenshot from this guy's Facebook page where he has liked, on an Arabic page, a comment calling the onslaught, the sort of public onslaught against him, where they've called it a Zionist campaign against him. He's basically blaming the Jews again. He's liked that post.
Well, I mean, we don't know whether he has or not, so no, I wouldn't comment on that. If he did it like any post at the moment, he'd be very foolish.
Would you be happy for him to be your next-door neighbour if you were Jewish?
Yes.
If you were Jewish?
Well, I'm not Jewish, but I'd be perfectly happy for him to be my next-door neighbour, yes.
Someone with those views wants to harm white people. Well, specifically harm white people.
Again, you're actually using the present tense. I'm
using his words from his tweet.
I'd like to talk to him about the tweets that he put out. I would like to find out if he still holds those extremist views.
Well, he has said in a statement, looking at the tweets now, the ones that were not completely twisted out of their meaning, I do not understand how shocking and hurtful they are, and for that I apologise. Yeah, gbnews.com/you'll say, do you believe him? There's another wider conversation here to be had as well, which is about the sort of willy-nilly dishing out of British citizenship, which for me doesn't mean anything anymore. This guy was given citizenship because his mother was born here under some flimsy rule where she could pass down the citizenship. He didn't have to undergo a decent character test. It was all just rushed through. Very weird, very inane, and I guess reflective of Great Britain 2025 in the last couple of decades. Anyway, up next, the number of foreign nationals entitled to claim benefits has nearly doubled in the past 2 years. That means, get this, a migrant becomes eligible for universal credit every 43 seconds. What is going on? You're watching GB News. Back in just a tick.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Farage with me, Ben Leo, just for this week. Before we get stuck into the next segment, I wanted to share with you a tweet from our very own Patrick Christie's, who fired this off on X earlier today to do with this case involving the Egyptian racist anti-Semite. Patrick said, The Guardian's front page has the story of one teacher making a spurious claim about a 17-year-old Nigel Farage. Meanwhile, their diplomatic editor fawns over an Egyptian anti-Semite and a self-proclaimed racist coming to Britain. I thought that was bang on the nail, bang on the head. The two-tier... I mean, as I'll say again, Two-tier Britain at its finest today. And Patrick highlighted that just there. GBNews.com/you'll say keep those comments coming in. Let's move on, shall we? Because insane new figures released today show the number of migrants eligible to claim benefits has nearly doubled, with a migrant in Britain now eligible for universal credit every 43 seconds. And, of course, you're paying for it back home. Between September 2024 and October 25, a total of 734,000 foreigners passed the habitual residence test, which entitles them to universal credit. That was up from 411,000 in the previous year, so it's pretty much doubled. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood promised to curb immigration, forcing foreigners to earn the right to stay in Britain. However, with £10 billion of spending in benefits on non-Brits every year, is our welfare system broken beyond repair? Jamie and Nigel are back with me now. Jamie, this... First of all, it's a shocking story, a migrant eligible for universal credit every 43 seconds. But again, just being reminded of that £10 billion welfare bill for for foreign nationals, basically. Do we need to scrap that completely? Is there any other country that behaves like that?
Well, I think the figures are staggering, and it is such an insult to working Brits. You know, I think of the residents in Ongar, where I'm a councillor, who work full-time yet find themselves at a food bank occasionally because they literally can't make ends meet. And then they find out that the taxes that they are paying are subsidising 1.3 million foreign nationals in this country, who we're told by the left are all coming to be doctors and nurses and save our NHS. But the truth is, many are taking the mick out of the British people. They're coming here on an easy ride because we're a soft touch, and they're literally arriving and then pretty much expressing their interest and signing every 43 seconds. I mean, the figures are astonishing, Ben. It is showing how Britain has become an embarrassment on the world stage, and no wonder they pass through all these safe countries through Europe and they risk coming here on through the Channel route. No wonder they do it, Ben, because it is so easy.
Nigel, the DWP admitted earlier this year that 500 migrants a day are claiming universal credit in Great Britain.
Yeah, and that's about to end. So the habitual residence test will disappear as a qualification for getting benefits. What Shabana Mahmood is bringing in, at the moment you have to wait 5 years for settled status. That gives you universal credit after that. That will end. You're now looking at between 10 and 20 years before you can get that settled status. And the next stage will be that that benefits will only go to people who then get British citizenship. So the system is being changed. I think there are a lot of holes in that, by the way, but the system is being changed. So you won't get figures like this in the future.
Nigel,
I was just going to say, we don't need the system to change. These people need to be deported. If they're not coming to our country to contribute...
Hang on, these are legal migrants.
If people are not
deporting them.
well, fine. If people are not coming to this country and contributing in a positive way, why do we want them here? Well, they're not if they're signing up to universal credit and not working.
No, well, hang on a second. Universal credit is paid mostly to people who are in work. So the majority of those people will be in work but on low wages. So they'll be getting
why should we be topping their lifestyles up?
I've just told you they're about to change all that.
I don't believe for a second they will, because the Labour Parliamentary Party will never agree to something like this. They'll never agree to something like this. Starmer's got no control of his MPs. They'll never agree.
Well, you may think they'll never agree and it won't happen, but those are the plans in place by the current Home Secretary.
Nigel, can I ask you, on a broader sort of perspective on this, we've been told for many a year, it's been pumped into us that mass migration is great for the economy. Migrants grow the economy. We've had 10 million migrants, a population explosion of 10 million over 20 years. We had 1.2 million under Boris Johnson, so and so, and we all know the details. Yet the economy doesn't grow at all. GDP per capita is actually contracting, which is the truest valuation of personal wealth in Britain. So do migrants grow the economy?
Well, broadly, they do, yes. I mean, the whole point is that without them, the economy would be in a much worse shape than it is at the moment. But that aside...
But even though GDP per capita is contracting...
Well, yeah, I mean, it is contracting, but, I mean, it's contracting for everybody. So it would just be contracting further if you didn't have migrants here. The point about legal migration is what we should be doing is taking the people in that the economy needs. That's the way that we should actually run the legal migration system. And under this new system, what it'll mean is these people will contribute. Bear in mind, even the ones claiming universal credit now will have contributed in taxes, and in future they'll still be contributing but not getting anything back.
Hang on a minute. How can we have a 78% increase in foreign nationals claiming universal credit and then in the same period see our economy contract and GDP. It's very basic following the numbers. But hang on a minute. If you've got somebody coming into this country legally and they've got on a low wage and they therefore apply for universal credit, which should be there for British citizens, not people that are foreign to
Which is what will happen in the future.
But most Brits, if they're struggling and their wages aren't making ends meet, get a second or a third job. Single mums that never see their children because they're working 7 days a week. So why is it that that single mum who gets a second or third job, who then can't get universal credit, is then subsidising the lifestyle of a foreign national? And that is what is happening under your plans.
Well, it's not my plan. This is the current government.
You're trying to
this
defend,
is the current
which we all know will
plan.
never actually happen because the parliamentary party don't listen to the Prime Minister.
But again, you're quoting certain examples. It may well
life examples of my residents.
All right, but it may well be that you're talking about migrants who are doing the same thing, getting second, third jobs. It doesn't stop people actually claiming universal credit, provided they qualify for it. And at the moment, you don't qualify for 5 years anyway.
Nigel, I've spent the last 4 months or so in the US, in DC, following the Trump administration there. They posted some sublime GDP figures in the last quarter, something like 4.3%. Quarter on quarter, which is insane. And at the same time, they have removed more, I think it's 2.4 million illegal migrants, 600,000 forcibly removed by ICE, kicking them out. The others have been encouraged to leave with, basically threatened, saying if you don't leave voluntarily, we'll find you anyway and you'll never come back. Does that not show that at the time when millions are leaving the United States, also, by the way, murder rates are down at 25-year lows, murder rates are down and the economy is growing as well. So millions are leaving, murder rates are down, and the economy is growing. Surely that is completely contrary to everything we've been fed for decades.
But you're linking all those things to migration. What is going on in America?
Coincidence, is it?
Well, it's just different. So in America...
Hang on a minute, it's not different because you just said that migration is good for the economy.
Migration is good for the economy, but it doesn't mean that the economy is suddenly going to grow by X number of % because of migration. So the economy at the moment is in a mess. It could be in a worse mess if we hadn't had some of the migrants
And what
here.
about all the other indirect but very directly linked to immigration expenses to the government? Take, for example, crime, which we know migration is causing huge surges in crime. Look at sexual assaults, for example, with Afghans as an example. You have got a situation where immigration to this country, unmanaged, unchecked, as we've got at the moment, is actually drastically increasing pressure on the state, and that is coming straight from the public purse.
But we're talking here about legal migrants, which is different from the people who are crossing the channel.
Yeah. OK, gbnews.com/your say. Pat, you've said... Oh, it's gone now. There's so many of you commenting. I'll get to them in just a tick. Up next on Farage, why are hairdressers following pubs and banning Labour MPs from getting a cut? I'll be joined by a salon owner who will be explaining why members of Keir Starmer's government and the MPs that follow him are no longer welcome at his business. You're watching GB News, Britain's #1 news channel. Back in a tick.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Are you after some sunshine this Christmas period? There is some on offer, particularly if you're going to the Canaries. Plenty of sunshine here, but Madeira seeing outbreaks of rain for Tuesday and brighter skies for Spain and Portugal. Sunny spells here, 1 or 2 showers, but more settled across into Italy, parts of Greece where we'll see showers, some longer spells of rain at times, but particularly mild for the time of year, 15, 16 Celsius. Turning cooler here over the next few days, but increasing amounts of sunshine too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. A frosty night to come for much of Scotland, staying dry wherever you are, but there's still a brisk northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here, temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday, but there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas, you can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud though as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Farage with me, Ben Leo, just for this week. A couple of your says have come in. Thank you for your comments. Nigel, one for you. It says, it's from Barry, actually. Nigel, if I have to listen to an opposite view to mine, I'd rather it be Nigel Nelson than anyone else. Whatever you think of his views, he's nothing, if nothing else, absolutely genuine in his belief.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, there we go. Something positive. And lots of you asking what I'm doing back in the UK. Bev and I will be back in the United States, in Washington, next week. So, yeah, lots more fun to come stateside. Right, now, spare a thought for poor Labour MPs, because not only can they not get served in many pubs now, but now they can't get a haircut either. Hairdressers are following in the footsteps of pubs by banning Labour MPs over what they're calling the government's business rates betrayal. More than 1,000 pubs have already barred the party's parliamentarians from their premises in a growing backlash against Rachel Reeves' budget. One of them joins me now. He's the salon owner of Herschen's Hair Salons, Luke Herschen. Luke, good evening. Thanks for your company. So you're following in the footsteps of the boozers and you're saying, get out of my salon. Why, Luke?
Well, look, I think let's put this into perspective. I think that, I always welcome kind of positive dialogue with whoever, but I think what's happened as an industry is that people have been the industry's been shouting and screaming since Labour came into government, and no one's listening. And I think that this is kind of almost the straw that broke the camel's back. We've had, countless tax rises. We've had employer national insurance costs in the first budget. We've had dividend tax rates. We've had slower capital allowances. We've had bracket creep on the income tax, and all of this is just adding to the pain and difficulty that salon owners face in running their business post-COVID. And then to top it all off, just before Christmas, the Christmas present that no one wanted was a new set of business rates. Just to put it in some kind of perspective, our business rates go up by another 50k next year. It's an exorbitant amount of money.
Goodness me. Hang on a minute, 50k a year, Luke?
Yeah, that's just in the first year, so it will go up exponentially because there's still some level of what Rachel from accounts is calling kind of COVID relief, but it gets kind of filtered away over the next few years. So that that kind of 50k just next year goes up exponentially over the next 3 years. I think the thing is that not one person in this cabinet has ever run a business. They do not understand business, they don't understand how to run a business, and this is just the nail in the coffin for a lot of especially small to medium-sized salons across the country. Unfortunately, next year we're going to see a huge decrease in apprenticeships, so the next generation of hairdressers coming onto the shop floor will be no training for them because no one can afford to pay for the training that they need, and we're going to see closures because people they just cannot afford to run their businesses. I mean, we heard stories today of salon owners that were taking second jobs in supermarkets, stacking shelves, just to pay the increase in their NI. And the increase in business rates is just the icing on the cake that I think is going to break a lot of businesses. It's another example of this government doing things where they just don't understand. They don't do the groundwork of the effects that these things have on businesses that are trying to operate in difficult circumstances.
Luke, can I ask you that your 50k hike in business rates, across how many salons is that?
So we have 2 salons in central London.
So 25k a pop?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's absurd. Great point, by the way, Luke, about the sort of quality of the cabinet, because, as I keep saying, like a broken record, I've been in the United States for the past 4 months. The Secretary Treasury, Scott Bessent, over there, he not only have they just posted some great GDP figures, 4-point-something% quarter on quarter. When you look at the quality of their cabinet and the sort of pedigree of politician, Scott Bessent is worth $600 million, a personal fortune. So he's obviously doing something right in business. He joined and has managed many hedge funds around the world with billions of dollars of assets under management. He was working for Soros at some points many decades ago. These are people with great experience across their sector. They know their brief. And I know money doesn't mean everything, but personal wealth, I guess, is a reflection of how well you've been doing in your field. And then you look at the likes of Rachel Reeves, and with respect to her claim that she was an economist at the Bank of England, I mean, it is questioned. So when you compare the two, Scott Bessent, Rachel Reeves, I guess maybe on a small example, you can see why America's doing so well.
Yeah, it's a really sad state of affairs. You just have to look at the new release GDP growth figures in the US versus here. I mean, unfortunately, I grew up in Thatcher's Britain. I remember politicians being, people that had been there and done things, built businesses, understood the economy. This lot haven't got a Scooby-Doo what they're doing, and unfortunately, we've got another 4 years unless things change. This is going to get worse before it gets better, and I think the high street is going to be a sadder place as a result of it, because government do not understand how to run a business, how to operate a business. Margins in hairdressing and in hospitality are wafer thin, and when you keep loading it up with tax, the whole thing is inflationary because people have to put their prices up, which is obviously not working because their inflation target isn't being met. They just need to get some people on board and listen to us as an industry to help fuel the growth. Most of this country is made up of small to medium-sized businesses. Listen to businesses, and then maybe we can have a growing economy. But we need to get some talent back onto that cabinet.
Thank you, Luke. Best of luck to you and your hairdressing colleagues. I guess you could just become a Turkish barbers and just take cash only and wash some money. But there we go. Luke Hershon, thank you very much. Appreciate it, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you.
Right, gbnews.com/your say. Nigel's here, Jamie's family. Nigel, what's your take on this? First of all, boozers, now hairdressers.
Yeah, obviously we're going to have an awful lot of male Labour MPs wandering around the Commons looking like 70s hippies. But obviously he's perfectly entitled to decide whose hair he wants to cut in the first place. When he talks about the business rates going up, which is quite an important point, this is to do with the 40% COVID business relief being phased out. It was always meant to be temporary. It was never something that people were going to keep permanently. People don't like it when money is taken away from them, having been given it, which is always the problem. But that was not something, it was there for an emergency, and it's not there now COVID isn't.
I'm sorry, that is not the case. I speak to small businesses all the time, anywhere I go, and I'm not surprised these people are barring Labour MPs, because they are sitting and presiding over the destruction of our high streets that the Tories absolutely started, for sure. This is the business environment in this country. Entrepreneurialism is dead in Britain at the moment. Enterprise is dead because nobody wants to start a business. The red tape is all over the place. The complications, VAT, everything is too much for people. And The worrying thing is, as Luke mentioned, about the next generation who have been totally put off by this government because we have a government that hasn't got a clue how to run a business. They haven't got a clue how to run the government, but that's a separate issue. These people do not understand what it's like for the florists, for the butchers, for the pub landlords, because if they had an inch of a clue as to what it was like, I actually had to stop myself from laughing when I saw on Small Business Saturday Labour MPs having the audacity to go into shops and pretend they're on the side of small businesses. They haven't got a clue.
Yeah, interesting. And also that comparison, Nigel, just a very quick word to you about Scott Bessent, the US Secretary of the Treasury, to Rachel Reeves. I mean, the comparison really is stark, isn't it?
Well,
the quality of politician.
I have a thing about the idea that politicians have to have done a previous job to be decent politicians. I mean, the Secretary of State for Defence is not going to be better at doing his or her job if they'd been a hairdresser.
Oh, hang on, yes, he would, Nigel.
If they'd been a hairdresser or a doctor beforehand, any more than if you go to the GP, would you prefer one who'd been previously a bus driver?
I'm sorry, it's ridiculous.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
It's the same comparison as politics. Politics is a professional
business. A business secretary that's owned a business is what we want.
GBNews.com/your say. We're going to finish this show with a great story after the break. Nick Kyrgios, if you're into tennis, he was a decent player. He's top 10, lots of injuries, getting on a bit. A world number 670-something. Anyway, he played the women's world number 1 yesterday in a so-called battle of the sexes. And the result may or may not surprise you, and it will be a hammer blow to those who think that biological men should be allowed to play in women's sports. Back in just a tick.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hello, welcome back to Farage with me, Ben Leo. Now, I love this story. Nick Kyrgios, men's tennis player, he won a clear victory over world number one Aryna Sabalenka in a historic match yesterday, dubbed the new Battle of the Sexes. So Kyrgios is a 30-year-old Aussie, ranking 671st in the men's tennis category. He comfortably beat Sabalenka, the women's world number one, the best female tennis player in the world. Comfortably beat her 6-3, 6-3, despite the female tennis champion holding a number of advantages, including a single serve limit and Sabalenka defending a smaller court by about 9%. So it was much harder for Kyrgios. For me, and look, Sabalenka's a great player. I love tennis. She's a supreme athlete. She is, you know, the best in the world. I love her. But for me, this is proof that biological men should keep the hell out of women's sports and stop cheating. Coordinator for the Women's Rights Network, Faye McGinty, joins me now down the line. Faye, if we needed yet more proof, I don't know, maybe you'll disagree with me, this is more proof that there is a clear distinction between male and female athletes.
Well, hi Ben. Well, no, I certainly don't disagree with you. It's the perfect demonstration of how bodies play sport, not identities or feelings. In a game like tennis, where it's the power and the speed that really matter, this has just been the perfect demonstration of why males shouldn't be playing in the female category. And in the Women's Rights Network sport group, that's what we've been trying to defend, you know, for a while now. It's the difference between men and women is baked in at puberty. You know, the increase in size and density of bones, larger heart, greater lung capacity, all these things really matter in sport. You know, and why shouldn't women? The women's game is completely different to the men's game. Why shouldn't women have a fair game and a fair crack at the you know, winning the prize money?
Yeah, but Faye, some people of the other side of the argument will say, yeah, but their testosterone levels are down, they're taking hormones, their T levels are, you know, below that of normal women now. Is that not good enough?
Well, look, I mean, they tried to create a level playing field, didn't they, for Sabalenka, and that didn't work. No, men can't magically become women by reducing testosterone levels. It's baked in at puberty, like I say. You can't reduce the size of your skeleton or the density of your skeleton or the size of your heart just by reducing testosterone levels. It won't work. It doesn't work. Look, you know, as an example, one of the stats that I read today is that the men's average speed on a first serve is 120 miles an hour, and women's is 105 miles an hour. You know, the difference in power is really quite incredible.
Yeah, and that's and by the way, sorry to interrupt, we're just quite short on time. That's not to put down women and say Sabalenka's an awful tennis player. She's a supreme athlete and I admire her, but it's just to say there is a biological reality here that men, for the most part, are more powerful, quicker, more agile than women. We're just more powerful creatures on the whole. Faye, thank you so much. Appreciate your company. That's Faye McGinty, Women's Rights Network Sports Group, the coordinator. Nigel, very quick word on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is why the Lawn Tennis Association in this country, World Athletics, World Aquatics, the FA, World Rugby, all ban trans women from taking part in women's events.
Why do they want to do it, Jamie? Men just cheat. They're cheated,
at the end of the day, this is nothing to do with men or women. This is actually the rainbow flag waving brigade that think that you know, people with feet like barges, an Adam's apple and a beard can suddenly put on a pink outfit and play against women, and somehow that's fair. It's not fair. Men are different to women, and it's unfair on women that we have allowed a narrative to even consider the fact that might not be true. It is science. It's black and white.
Tom Thumb on gbnews.com/your say. Hello, Tom. Good evening to you. You've said it is what it is. A bit of fun. Sabalenka would probably beat all but 100 men in the world. I have to respectfully, Tom, disagree with you. I would, yeah. I mean, look at the football. The US women's national team, who'd just come off the back of winning the World Cup, they played Dallas boys under 15s that same year, and they were beaten 5-2. The US women's national team, again, they played some Wrexham old-timers a couple of years back. I think they were smashed 13-2. And again, this isn't to dunk on women. I love female sports. Sabalenka, again, she's one of the best female tennis players ever. But there is a clear distinction. So cheating men stay out of women's sports. Nigel, thank you very much. Appreciate your company. Happy New Year. And you, Jamie, as well. Hopefully we'll catch up soon. And you viewers back home, thanks for your company tonight. Up next is State of the Nation with Matt Goodwin. Matt, what's on your programme tonight?
Well, thank you, Ben. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the Egyptian activists who many people are saying should not even be in Britain at all. We're going to be catching up with that debate with a top expert and panel. We're also going to be looking at this bombshell revelation in Britain's welfare system. Did you know that a migrant qualifies for welfare benefits in this country every 43 seconds? Absolutely bonkers. We'll also be looking at this question that Trump's ally has raised. Are men losing their work ethic? See you in 1 minute.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. A frosty night to come for much of Scotland, staying dry wherever you are, but there's still a brisk northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday, but there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas, you can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud though as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232.